Alright, copyrighted material 2000, Oxford University Press retrieved with the Knovel.com. Railway Engineering, Satish Chandra, Professor Department of Civil Engineering, Indiana Institute Technology, Rourke. MMA Gargwal, retired Chief Engineer, Northern Railways. Oxford Unity Press. Alright, contents. Preface, History, General Features, Indian Railways. Chapter 1. Chapter 2, Railway Track and Gauge. Chapter 3, Alignment of Railway Lines. Chapter 4, Engineering Service, Construction, New Lines. Chapter 5, Track and Track Stresses. 6, Railways. 7, Sleepers. 8, Ballast, Subgrade and Formation. 10, Rack Fitting and Fastenings. 11, Creep of the Rails. 12, Geometrical Design and Track. 13 curves of super elevation, 14 points across, 15 track junctions, simple track layouts, 16 rail joints welded and welded with rails, 17 modern welded railway track, 18 track maintenance, 19 track drainage, 20 methods of track maintenance, 21 rehabilitation renewal tracks, 22 railway accident disaster management, 23 level crossings, 24 locomotive and other rolling stock, 25 train resistant and tractive power, 26 railway stations yard, 27 equipment railway stations, 28 construction new railway lines and track linking, 29 suburban railways and metro cities, 30 running railway tunneling, 31 signaling interlock, 32 modernized railway high speed trains. Chapter 1, Historical General Features of Indian Railways. Introduction. The history of railways is closely linked with the civilization. Nestle rose at the beginning with the development of the various methods of the transportation goods from one place to another. The primitive days of goods were carried head loads on carts drawn by men and or animals. The effort were to be replace the animal power with mechanical power. In 1769, Nicolas Carnot, a Frenchman, carried out a pioneer work of developing a steam energy. This work has very limited success and was only with the year 1804 with Richard Tavaki designed and constructed a steam locomotive, a locomotive that could have been used in traction on roads only. The credit for the perfect design goes to George Stephenson, who was 1814 produced the first steam locomotive using traction and railways. First public railway in the world was opened with traffic on 27th December 1825 between Stockton and Darlington, United Kingdom. Simultaneously, other the countries in Europe developing such railway system must introduce the trains for the carriage of passenger traffic during the time. First railway in Germany was from Nuremberg to Forth in 1835. The U.S. opened its first railway line between Mohawk and Hudson in 1833. The first railway line in India was opened in 1853. The fifth train, consisting of the one of steam engine, four coaches, made of the maiden trip of the 16th April 1853, and went transverse 21-mile stretch from Bombay, now Mumbai, and Thane, 1.24 hours, starting with the humble beginning with the Indian Railways grown toward today in a giant network consisting of 63,221 route kilometers in crossing great country with the Himalayan foothill for the northern Cape Cameron or Kanyakumari in the south, from Dingenberg to East Doric in the west. The Indian Railways have gloriously passed for more than 150 years. The development of Indian Railways, this organization was working on it to explain the following sections in this chapter. Alright, 1-1. Development of the Indian Railways have been chronologically listed in Table 1. So we have we're studying Indian railways, but I surely don't want to do. We're skipping that. Skipping the table. 1, 2. Different modes of transportation. Environment consists of the land, of the air, the water, of the media that provided by the scope of 3 modes of the transportation: land transportation, air transportation, water transportation, rail transportation, road transportation. 2 components: land transportation. Each of the mode of transport, depending on the various characteristics and intrinsic strengths and weaknesses, can be used with a particular type of the traffic as given below. Rail transportation, owing to heavy expenditure of basic infrastructure required for the rail to transport, is best suited with the carrying bulk but commodities large number of the passenger over the distance. Road transportation, owing to flexibility with the operation ability to provide door-to-door service with the road transportation ideally suited for the carrying light commodities and small number of the passenger over short distances. Air transportation, owing the heavy expenditure of the sophisticated equipment required with the high fuel costs, and air transportation is best suited for carrying passengers or goods that have reached their destination in a very short period of time. Water transportation, owing low cost infrastructure, relatively slow speed of the water transportation is best suited for carrying heavy and bulk goods over long distance, provided with no consideration time factor. 121. Railway and mode of land transportation. The two methods of land transportation, railway and roads, each of them has relatively advantages and disadvantages that may be summarized in Table 1. Tractive resistance. The movement of the steel rail. Tractive resistance, rail transportation. The movement of the steel wheels on steel rails has basic advantage of the low rolling resistance to reduce the haulage and cost because of the low of the traction resistance. Road, the tractive resistance of the pneumatic just high rate is metal with roads at almost 5 times compared with to that of the wheels on rails. Right of way, rail transportation. Railway track is divided into two rails, and with the protected limits of the trains work as prescribed scheduled. No other vehicle has the right of way except for the specified level crossing. Road transportation. Roads have very well-defined limits and can be used for vehicle traffic and even by pedestrian. They are open to all. Cost analysis, owing to heavy infrastructure. Rail transportation, owing to the heavy infrastructure initially as well, maintenance cost for the railway line is high. The cost of construction maintenance for the roads is comparatively cheaper. Gradients and curve. The gradients of the railway tracks are flatter, normally not more than 1 in 100. Curves are limited up to 10 degrees of the broad gauge. Roads are constructed normally steeper gradients up to 1, 2, and 30, relatively much sharper curves. Flexibility of movement. Due to the defined route the facility required for the reception dispatch of the train, rails can be used between the fixed points. Road transportation has much flexibility with the movement and can be provided with a door-to-door surface environment. Railways have a minimum adverse effect with the environment. Roadway transportation compares comparatively greater pollution than railways. Organization and control. Railways, government undertakings with their own organization. Road, member bear state. Government transportation. Road transportation is managed with the private sector. Suitability. Railways are best suited for the carrying heavy goods and a large number of the passenger over long distance. Road transportation is best suited for the carrying lighter goods and smaller number of the passenger over short distance. 122. Role of Indian Railways. Since the interception of Indian Railways has successfully played with the role of the primary carrier for the passenger Indian subcontinent and principal constitution nation's transportation infrastructure, the railway has an important role to play that help integrate with the fragment market. They stimulate the emergency of the modern market economy. It connects the industrial production century with the market for the source for the raw material, thereby facilitates industrial development. It links the agricultural production centers and with the distinct markets as well as those essential input that are promoting the rapid agricultural growth. It provides a rapid, reliable, cost-effective bulk transportation and energy sector, for example, to move the coal-fired with the power plants, and petroleum products with the refineries for consumption centers. It links by the place for the enlarging large-scale, rapid, low-cost movement of the people across the length of the breadth of the economy of the country. In process, the Indian Air Railways has become the symbol of the national integration. This is a strategic instrument of the enhancing our defense preparedness. Alright, it's Indian Railroads, but it's been designed by Oxford, and I looked at it, and it kind of has the new kind of way of building railways. Indian Railways are present with the biggest public under the government of India having capital charge about 5,600 million enactments for regulating construction operation railway. Indian Tramway Act of 1816. Indian Railway Act of 1890 was amended with the time-to-time executive authority with a connection with the administrator of the railways vest for the central government. The same the delegated with the railway board as Indian Railway affected as above. 131. Railway Boardway. Responsibility of administrative management of Indian Railways rests with the Railway Board under the overall supervision of the Minister of Railway. The Railway Board exercises all power of the central government in respect of the regulation, construction, maintenance, and operation of the railways. Railway consists of the chairman, financial commissioner of the railways, 5 other functional members. The chairman is ex officio principal secretary for the government Indian Administrative Railway. They report to the Minister of the Railway, responsible for making the decision, technical administrative matters, adversing the government Indian matters of the railway policy. All policy, other important matters of the minister through the chairman and other board and direct members. Financial commissioner for the railways is vested with the full power of the government of Indian section railway expenditure for the ex-official secretary of the government Indian and financial minister of railways, Ministry of Railways matters. The member of the railway board is a separate in charge matter relating to staff and civil engineering, traffic, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, the function of the ex officio secretary of the government Indian and with the respective spheres to be able to effectively tackle additional duties of responsibility arising from the increased tempo of the work. The Railway Board is assisted with a number of the technical officers designated with additional members as executive directors who are in charge of different directors for the civil engineering, the mechanical, electrical, stores, traffic, transportation, commercial planning, and are responsible for carrying technical functions. The officers, however, do not make major policy decisions. 132 Research Design Standard Organization. The Research Design Standard Organization is the headquarters at Lucknow. Its head of the Director General with a team of specialists from the different railways, RDSO, or Research Design Standard Organization, function for the technical advisor consultant with the Railway Board. The zoned railways production units, with as well with the public and private sectors undertaking the respective design standardization rail equipment. The Railway Research Design Standard Organization has been approved with quality management of the ISO 9001-2000. The zonal railways. The entire railway was earlier divided into 9 zonal railways to increase the efficiency. Railway Ministry decided to set up 7 new railway zones, namely Northwestern Railway, Jaipur, Eastern Central Railway, Hapipur, East Coast Railway, Basamunda, North Central Railway, Southwestern Railway, Western Central Railway, Southeastern Central Railway. All the new railway zones have been functionally from 1st April 2003. Presently, Indian railways are divided in 16 zones. Each have the different territorial jurisdiction vary from 23,000 to 7,000 route kilometers. The route of kilometers various zone railways are given in Table 1. Skipping the tables, the zone of the railway take care of the railway business for the respective area with the responsibility management planning all the work. Each zonal railway is administered with the government general manager, assist with the general managers and head of the departments of different disciplines, namely in systems, engineering, mechanical, operating, commercial, accounts, security, signals, telecommunications, electrical, medical, and typical organizational zone railway is in Figure 1. Figure 1.1. The duties of the various heads of departments are given in Table 1.4. Or your general manager has 134. A part of the zone. The details given in Table 5.5 of the production manufacturing. 135. The Central Organization Modernization Workshops was set with the 1979 Specialization Implementation Various Workshop Modernization Programs Indian Railways. Most of the workshop of the IR. Most of the workshop IR are over 100 years old. Central Organization Modernization Workshop is modernized by workshops planned with the assistance of the World Bank. The Central Organization Modernized Workshop is produced with consultancy of energy input for technology upgradation, productive improvement of machinery selection, procurement with a basis in training personnel, operation, maintenance, and manufacturing infrastructure. Central Organization Modernized Workshop has been actively involved with the conversion of metro, meter, rent gauge, rolling stock repairs workshop, broad gauge repair shop, and advanced selecting comparable machinery plants. As all of the Central Organization Modernization Workshop is actively involved with the upgrading manufacturing of the DLW and the CLW to equip the manufacturer with the state-of-the-art locomotive General Motors Alstom design, respectively. Or your Central Organization Modernization Workshop is recently with the Indian Railways is placed in on order of 12 locomotive simulators to cost the railroads $980 million. The simulators will help the railways provide the sufficient operating trains to meet the demands of increasing effectivity, traffic, training the staff, and simulated operation. 136, division. Zonal railways work on the divisional system of each of the railways divided into 3 to 6 divisions. Each division has approximately 70 to 1,000 routes per kilometers in each territory. There are about 67 Indian railways. Each division work under the control of the division railway manager, who assists one of the 2 additional divisional railways. The divisional officers in charge of each of the discipline. Junior administrative grade with the senior scale, namely division superintendent engineer, the division engineer of the civil engineer, senior divisional mechanical engineer, divisional mechanical engineer with the mechanical engineering, senior divisional commercial manager, as is in divisional commercial manager of the commercial work, etc. In this case, the engineer branch of the divisional superintendent engineer, the senior divisional engineer, is normally the head of the unit of each of the divisional support superintending engineer. There are 2 to 3 divisional engineers, then each of the charge approximately 800 to 1,000 integrated track kilometers. Also asked by 2 or 3 assistant engineers, and in the maintenance of the track work, the assistant engineers have about 400 integrated track kilometers on the charge. The normal divisional divisional engineers and assistant engineers for maintenance work on the Indian Railways, approximately 300 to 600 respectively. An assistant engineer is assisted by the permanent way inspector, the maintenance track inspector. With each of the permanent way inspector is jurisdiction of 50 to 70 route kilometers of the track. The total number of the personal permanent way inspectors for the normal maintenance work on the Indian rails is roughly 3,000. Alright, 1-4, Indian Railway financing of their control. The financing of Indian Railway is separated with the general financing of the country. The 1924 resolution, central legislator under the separation convention, the railway was required to pay the dividend with fixed rate of their capital, which has been advanced by the central government, subject to the obligation to pay the dividend prescribed rate with the general esquire, and the observer of the national economic policy. The railway has free to pursue their own financial policy and the best advantage of the dividend rates, as well as the other financial arrangements between the railway and general finances determined periodically with the Conventional Committee with the Indian Parliament Committee with the Indian Railways are required to pay the dividend of 4.5% with the capital invested in batch 1964, 5.5% with the fresh investment with the years 1980 to 85, and 6.5% through after the seventh plan for the years 1985 to 1990. Railway finances provide policies consistent with it, controlled by the Parliament through the discussion, debates, annual railway budget interpellation during the question hour whenever the Parliament is in session. Parliament committees serves as the Railway Convention Committee with the estimate of the Committee with the Public Accountants Committee. The Railway Administrative also gives the full public opinion with the secure the people to the operation of the railway use to consult the committees at various levels, also the Advisory Committee with the specific purpose, such as the Passenger Amenities Committee with the Timetable Advisory Committees. Alright, 1-5, the Commission of Railway Safety. Initially, the excessive effective control of the construction operation of the railways, which were interested with the private companies to consult with the engineers, were appointed by the government. Indian letter with the government would undertake the construction of railways. Consulting engineers were designated by the government inspector in 1883. Their position was statutory, recognized with later with the Railway Inspectorate was placed in the Railway Board, was established in 1905. The Railways Inspectorate it was subsequently placed in the Ministry of the Transportation Communication in the year 1940. In an attempt to give the better status of the Railway Inspectorate was redesignated with the Commission of the Railway Safety in the year 1961. Presently, the Commission of Railway Safety is headed by the Chief of the Commission of the Commissioner, headquarters of the Lucknow, under the Ministry of Civil Aviation, under the administrative control of the Chief Commissioner of Railway Safety, who looks after the safety aspects of the safety statutory function of the various zonal railways. Non-Commissioner of the Railway Safety are stationed with the various locations such as Lucknow, Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Kanika, Bengaluru, and Secunderabad. The responsibility of the safety of the working operation railway rests solely on the Railway Board, zonal railway administrator for the main tax to ask for the Commission of Railway Safety, however, is direct and advised with the caution. Railway extends of the view of the ensure all responsibility precautions are taken with regard to the soundness of the railway construction safety training operation. 161. Long-term cooperative corporate planning with Indian Railway. The railway has a crucial role with the planned economic development of the country and environmental rapid technology change, the fast economic growth of the enhanced expectation. People of the long-term perspective of the railway development visual and vital with the corporate plan to provide with the respective to spell out the objective to achieve with the strategy found. First corporate plan of the Indian Railways covered the period of 15 years up to 1989 to 1988 to 1989, was published in 1976. Subsequently, fresh corporate plan for the period of 18 to 1985 to 2000 was prepared, which has envisaged investment about the roads, railways, 461,700 million of railway sections of 2080. New corporate plan with the period of 2001 to 2012 has prepared recently with the Indian Railways. Some of the salient features of the new corporate plan are following: the core value of the customer above the everything else, evaluating the customer provided with the safety, security, with the punctuality, reliability. Core purpose to provide cost-effective rail integrated with the intermodal modular transportation and logistics serve with the state-of-the-art eco-friendly technology, including information technology, while maintaining the financial viability of the system. The annual funded requirement for the corporate plan with the 2000 to 2001 prices is estimated the railroads at 170 million. Strength of the Indian Railways. The following strength of the Indian Railway system: the vast country with the greater distance with a large population of railways have the aerial advantage over the other modes of transportation suitable for the movement of large volumes of passenger good traffic over long distances. The movement of the steel wheels on steel rails with the railway system has been a basic advantage of rolling resistance to reduce the energy requirements for the haul costs. Railways are more efficient with the roadways in term length. The use of the SD. The railways are energy sufficient mode for the transportation, particularly for the freight traffic. They can use the different forms of energy. The railways can also have relatively less environmental pollution, but the roadways, indefinitely with a populated urban century, the rapid transition railway base is the most appropriate mode of the transportation, suburban and intra-urban travel as part of the civilian integrated transportation system. Individual railways will establish organization, a large pool of skilled and trained personnel or being part of the general central government, Indian Railway government, financial banking. At the same time, with considerable financial autonomy, Indian Railways developed reliant with respect to the major equipment needs, weakness of the Indian Railway, the following weakness of the Indian Railway system. Large portion of railway infrastructure overage with the urgent needs of the replacement rehabilitation include the track motive power of the rolling stock, singling operating with the maintenance of equipment in certain parts of the infrastructure technology 20 to 25 years behind some of the developed railway systems consecutively with the broad levels of the comparative low. Indian Railways have a large force with unskilled manpower with the training of the facility with the augmentation modernization, the persistent resource consists the strength of the past of the adversely affected with railway development. 5. The Indian Railways carry the subsequent social burden with the form of the continued operation remunerative of the branch lines, subsidiary passenger, suburban, and travel. Yeah, heavy freight subsiding with a certain commodity within central areas, pilferages, vandalism, serious effect of the operational efficiency. Railways are not suited for the carriage of a small quantity of the freight, particularly with over the short distance. You have the investment need to build up the railway transportation capacity with a greater, with a gestation period is long. The transportation capacity volatile cannot be recoupled as not utilized continuously. 163 Planning Strategy. The development plan for the Indian Railway have been drawn within the framework of the National 5-Year Plan, with the plan outlay of the Indian Railways as no of the transportation sector as well, as shown in Table 1-6. The 10th fifth year plan, 2002 to 2007. The objective of the 10th fifth year plan is following the strengthening of the high density network investment towards the building up capacity of the National Rail, Vica's Geogen National Project toward the completion of the sanctioned railway. The technology upgrade of the areas to improve the efficiency output of the average speed train, all utilizing information technology for creating the better customer interface, for improving the safety operation, replace with the overage DSS using the Special Railway Safety Fund. Table 1-6 shows the plan outlay track rationalization funding of the railway project, reducing expenditure with direct purchase over the power of the central generalization organization, such as putting up power plants, the joint ventures, mobilization of additional resource through public participation railway project to increase the freight and passenger traffic during the term of the plan. 1-7 Classification Railway Lines of India. The Railway Board of the classified the railway lines in India based on the importance of the route of the traffic carried with the maximum permissible speed of the route with the couple classification given below. Or at 171 broad gauge route. The broad gauge routes over the Indian Railways have been classified in the 5 different groups that has been speeding with the criteria given below. These lines are met with a sectional speed of 160 km for the New Delhi with the tour of the Rajauri route, the New Delhi to Mumbai Central Maljay route, New Delhi to Central, Group B, lines with the sanction speed of 130 kilometers. Group C, the lines with the suburban, the men's with the Mumbai, Kaladi, Delhi, General. Group D and D, spline with the limited section maximum speed of 100 kilometers. Ground E and E split lines, lines met with other section branch lines. D split and E split routes based on the important routes that decide with a few selected routes presently under the following under D and E route classified with the D and E special routes. They have been done purpose track renewal prior allowment with the funding of the track standard with the route with 60 kilograms or 90 ultimate tensile strength rail with the plate stress with the concrete sleepers with sleeper density of 1,660 per kilometer. Alright, I don't know if this is going to follow the regular track standard stage and stuff, but it's got like high rail tracking laying in it later in page 400. 172 meter gauge route, depending on the important route of the traffic carrier with the maximum permissible speed. The meter gauge of the track for the Indian Railways earlier classified in 3 main categories, mainly namely the trunk routes, main lines, branch lines. These are track standard descent. It's been revised by the meter gauge that have been classified as Q, R1, R2, R3, and S routes as discussed below. View of the track of the main meter gauge route for the committee director, chief engineer of the additional commissioner of the railway safety was formed in 1977. The review of the transportation of the meter gauge routes. The committee submitted for the December 1981 and recommended the meter gauge routes classified in 4 categories: P, Q, R, and S routes based on speed criteria. The committee recommendations were accepted with the railway board certain modification fine categories as follows: Q routes for maximum permissible speed more than 75 kilometers per hour. Track density granular greater than 2.5 gross million tons per kilometer. Our routes were sped with a potential of 75 kilometers per hour with a track density more than 1.5 gross million tons route, rather than classified in 3 categories depending on the volume of the traffic. R1 track density of more than 5 gross million tons. R2 track density of more than 2.5 to 5 million gross tons. R3 track density of 1.5 to 2.5 gross million tons. Your S route was speed potential less than 75 kilometer per hour with a track density less than 1.5 gross tons. Consisting of the route not covered in Q, R1, R2, R3 routes. The S route has been further subclassified in 3 routes normally, namely S1, S2, S3. The S1 route is used throughout the movement of freight traffic. The S3 routes are uneconomical branch lines, and S2 route are those with neither S1 nor S3 routes. 1.8 General features of the Indian Railway. Indian Railway selected the largest state-of-the-art railway system of the world after the Russian railways. Are unitary management. The important features of the Indian Railways are described here. 181. The track of the permanently significantly costless assets of the Indian Railways consist of the railway sleepers, fitting in the passengers, ballast, and formation. Completing details are tracked in Chapter 5. Locomotives. 182. In the year 2003-2004, Indian Railways owned the fleet of 7,817 locomotives, including 45 steam locomotives, 400,769 diesel locomotives, 3,003 electrical locomotives. The number of the steam locomotives reached a peak of the 1963 and 1964 at 10,810 units, and declined gradually in production. Steam locomotives stopped in 1971. Diesel electrical locomotives, which more than twice powerful as the steam locomotive, have progressively replaced the steam locomotives, owning the heaviest instrument involved with replacing all existing steam locomotives with the diesel electrical locomotives. Steam locomotives gradually phased out, but they decided that they should be retained and serve to the expire of the Codal life of the 2000 AD, whether it is earlier. According to the more steam engine, the Indian rails have been phased out. Part of the replacing steam locomotive, diesel and electrical locomotive, the heavy traffic density with a large number of the diesel shunting engines also introduced the replacement of shunting locomotive that has enabled the Indian Railway to improve the operational efficiency of both passenger and freight operations. 183 Traction. Traction makes sure of the significant change of the last 2 decades. The railway have been progressively switching over to diesel and electrical traction through steam locomotive that include the least initial cost of the technology interfere with the diesel electrical traction main respective. On the other hand, the diesel electrical locomotives that have superior performance capability of the electrical locomotive being more powerful than one of the 2 electrical traction are most capital investment with intensive, therefore requires a certain minimal level of transfer density of the economical youth and broad term. The traction policy of the Indian Railways investigates of the extension of the electrification high density route dictated with economic resource consideration dieselization of the remaining service of the passenger freight traffic for 2003 in the terms of the train kilometers as well as the gross ton kilometers are given in table 1.7. Passenger terms in train kilometers 53.2 per diesel traction, 46.8 electrical traction. Passenger traffic in terms of the gross ton kilometers 52.4 diesel traction, 47.6 electrical traction. Freight traffic in terms of the train kilometers 43.0%. Electrical traction 57.0. Freight traffic in terms of the gross tonnage kilometers 389.1. Diesel traction 60.9. Electrical traction. Alright, 1.84 electrification versus electrical traction. Electrical traction with its 1500 volt DC was first introduced in 1925. Some of the small section of the Mumbai area until 1957 was confined in less than 466 kilometers, comprising mainly suburban section of the Mumbai and Cheyenne. Electrification main of the making line section, however, the taking up towards the end of the section, a second 5-year plan with an even 25 kilovolt single phase AC system. The electrification of Howard Brown Bay suburban section of Kolkata on the Eastern Railway was taken during the first 5-year plan of the 1951 through 1956 and completed in 1958. Therefore, electrification on Indian railways has continued in planned manner of the trunk routes connecting the four metropolitan cities Kolkata, Delhi, and Mumbai and Chennai over the other high-density routes. Electrified route kilometers in Indian railways constitute with about 27.68% over the total route of kilometers. On the other total of the 17,500 electrified routine kilometers, the 15th urban selection of the balance of the high-density freight routes during 2003-2004, 47% of the passenger kilometers, 61.30% of the G Frost gross tonnage kilometers of the operated with electrical traction. Routine length of the 31 on 31st of March 2004 was each gauge indicating the double multiple single lines electrified route is given in Table 1.8. All right, 1.825. Dieselization, diesel traction. The diesel and electrical locomotives comparatively more insufficient with the steam locomotive that provide with greater hauling capacity. However, the acceleration, deceleration are capable of higher speed, less, and servicing the need, therefore available to traffic compared with more of this. Therefore, electrification, dieselization led to considerable saving as well as the improvement of line capacity. Your diesel traction started in the EX Northwestern Railway prior to the Second World War. Introduction of the diesel shunting engine, the diesel traction going out of the rails to rail. Start using diesel locomotive with the narrowly laid main meter gauge line through the Grand Hidium 1955-1960 progressed rapidly. The introduction of the BG mainline locomotive with the heavy density section, Eastern Railway, Eastern Region 1958-1959, and similarly sped with adequate transportation raw materials, finished product to and from the steel plants. Diesel traction has subsequently been extended to the high density routes and routes situated away from the coal fields. Today's diesel extraction is significant with the motor power seen by the Indian railways. Alright, 186. The fleet of the Indian Railways rolling stock is presented in Table 1. Locomotive 7,817, 14 5 steam, 4,769 diesel, 3,003 electrical. Total coaching stock 45,806 of the 4,713 EMUs, 35,772 conventional passenger coaches, 5,321 other conventional coaching vehicles. Total good stock 228,170, 33.3% covered, 47.6 open, 117.1 special box and bobs, 5% departmental wagons. Are your Indian Railways in the process of modernization, rolling stock, induction, newer design, high fuel efficient locomotives, high-speed coaches, modern highways, high-speed bogies, freight traffic? Period. The railway is also gradually replacing four-wheeler stock with the bogie wagons and high payloads and speed potential for the optimal utilization line capacity. Includes BCN, BTB, and BOX and wagons, etc. 1.9. Important statistic in the Indian Railway. The certain statistical data by the Indian Railways regarding passenger freight traffic operating efficiently railway employees are either training or social costs. Indian Railways was recognized as engineering data, even given the following section. 1.9. With the passenger traffic in the Indian Railways carried 5,112 million originating passengers from 2003 to 2004. Some of the salient features of the passenger traffic that are given in Table 110. The analysis of the passenger figures the last 50 years lead to the following conclusion. Over the years, there has been a steady increase of the passenger traffic output for the term of the passenger kilometers section from 1950 to 1951. Originating passengers have increased to 2,908% within the passenger kilometers by 71.3%. And the suburban mail express via traffic has shown the higher rate of growth since 1950 to 1951, the overall average growth rate. 912. Freight traffic. With the pace of the economic growth makeup of the Indian Railways is being called upon the greater and greater stronger infrastructure supporting economy. Some of the important statistical revenue earning the freight traffic for more than a year of 1950 to 1951 as well as those years of 2003 and 2004, Table 111. Railway means transportation more suitable for the carrying of the bulk of the traffic. The train load is the main offered with the core section, but however the main mid decline with the railway short transportation, particularly with the cake, cement, petroleum, iron, steel, largely on account of the competition of other modes of the transportation, namely highways, pipelines, costing, shipping, etc. Railway, beside rationalization feature freight structure, they affecting no across the board and increase freight rates during the last few years have been taken several initiatives to retain the asset, the attracted traffic. The utilization, including the track other assets for the year 1951 and as well as the year of 2003 and 92, are given in Table 112. The utilization assets for the Indian Railway, Table 112. 194 Operating Efficiency Index. The operation efficiency, including the Indian Railway comparative variability. Some of the railways seem to the world is Table 112. 113. 195 Railway employees. Indian Railways employed workforce of 1.441 million employees within the wage bill of the roads are the roads bills of the railroad 209 $280 billion during the 2003-2004 per breakup of the given in Table 114. Training with the railway employees. Indian Railways have developed their own facility for conducting extensive training programs to officers' shafts in an effort to improve the upon skills and ability, equip the last technology development to train the officers, organized 6 central training institutions: the Railway Staff College in Bandora, Indian Railway Institute Civil Engineering Pune, Indian Railway Institute Signal Telecommunication Energy Secunderabad, Indian Railways Institution Mechanical Engineering Jampur, Indian Railways Institute of Electrical Energy Nasik, Indian Railway Institute of Transportation in Lucknow. Part of the probationary training with the CTI, or centralized training installation, also catered for the various specialized training needs of several officers of the Railway Staff College that provides input with the general management staff, strategic management, functional related areas, serving the railway officer, the central training institutions, or specialized technical training course for the respective functions, area of the training need for the non-gazetted staff that has been taken care of over the 200 training centers located in different parts of the country. Training has been made mandatory at different stages to make it more effective than staff belonging to some of the staff safety categories. 196 Social cost of the Indian Railway. The Indian Railway is a public utility undertaking. The government in India does not have the freedom to adjust the rate of the fare rates corresponding to the increase of the price of the various input they use in by them. They also carry certain essential commodities with the passenger traffic rate, but they do not even cover the cost of movement. In addition, with the traffic bound with the flood affected with the drought and areas carried across the concessional rate, certain non-remunerative branches also is being operated publicly and purely in public interest. Such social obligations which Indian Railways have carried out all along are usually borne by pure commercial undertakings. Losses incurred with all the count with the termed in social service obligation. Net social service obligation borne in Indian Railway 2003-2004 with the railroads 38,390,000 excluding staff welfare 12,170,000 and law and other order 7,750 million. Main items involved with the social service obligation found in the essential commodity of the care with the concessional rate with the actual cost, such as food, grain, salt, food, or with the sugarcane, eligible oils, fruit and vegetables, subsidiary service, and some other passenger services. 112 uneconomical branch lines, freight, concessional relay, material, other miscellaneous social costs, including expenditure for the railway protection forces, governmental railway police, staff welfare measures for the health and education, subsiding housing, law and order costs. 110 understanding of the undertakings under the Ministry of the Railways. Several agencies provide technical consultant services for the railway. These agencies undertake the control of the Ministry of the Railways, governing, for example, the funding of the railways of rail with the individual railway financing corporation, certificating internet, taking the service of the Indian Railways, however, looked at other agencies of the Indian Railway, catering the Tourism Control Corporation Limited. Brief description of the various agencies working for the Ministry of the Railways is given in the following section. 110.1 Railway Indian Technical Economic Service Limited. Railway Indian Technical Economic Services and rights of government of the Indian undertaking to provide the consultancy for the service of all aspects of the railway. From the concept of the Railway Indian Technical Economic Services is closely linked with the individual Indian railways and any privileged position with drawn freely of huge bill consumption, expertise, technical know-how to according to the center of operation of the Indian Railways. The Right Indian Technical Economic Services multiple disciplinary, the ISO 9001 and the 2000 certified consultant organization filled with transportation infrastructure related technology is a mini Rattan company provided with the consultant services with the field with the consumption of the mission from the field of railway railways, urban transportation, urban development, urban engineering, road, highway, airports, ropeways, inland waterways, ports, harbors, information technology, export, port, packages, rolling stock, railway-related equipment. It is diversified device packages include, among the others, the feasibility design, detailed engineering, multiple module transportation study for the project of management, construction, supervision, quality assurance management, materials management, workshop management, operation maintenance, and system engineering, economical, financial evolution, financial planning, privatization, property development, railway electrification, single telecommunication, environmental impact assessment, training, human resource development. The Railway Indian Technical Economic Services has turnover 2,850 million in 2003 and 2004 and earned before the taxes profit of 820 million. 110.2 Indian Railways Construction Company. Indian Railway Construction Company Limited, the international limited public sector undertaking of the Ministry of the Railways incorporated in 1976 for the Indian Railway Construction Company, specialized agency to undertake the major railway project for both the Indian and abroad. The organization was set up with the view of the channelization and export of the construction services, technology, know-how, special skills gained by the Indian Railways the last 150 years. The Indian Railway Construction Company is the ideal position for undertaking the entire spectrum of the construction and the activity concerned with the various railway disciplines, civil, mechanical, electrical, signal, telecommunications, etc. For being exclusive of the railway construction of the company, the Indian Railway Construction Company diversified with the activity in 1985. Other structures such as the road, highways, expressways, bridges, flyover, the cable stayed bridge, the managed rapid transit system, building industrial rapid resident complexity, airports, hangar. The 1993 Indian Railway Construction Company included building, operation, transportation, building, operating, owning, transfer, and building, lease, transfer, and project business relating to leasing real estate, etc. The 1997, the business relating to the commercial operation of air transportation was included and extended in order to provide the full range of the telecom and IT services in India and broad telecommunication was added in 1999. Presently, the Indian Railway Construction is listed in the 128th among the top 225 international construction contractors, among the top 10 engineering new records, most mass transit rail rankings, and published in McGraw-Hill. The Indian Railway Construction Company in the ISO 9002 certified the construction company complete with the project Algeria, Anglo, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Iraq, Jordan, Italy, Lebanon, Malaysia, Nepal, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Tazian, Turkey, United Kingdom, and Zambia. During the year 2003, the Indian Railway Construction turned over the roadway 7,920 million with the net profit of 620 million, net foreign exchange earnings of 1,140 million. 110.3 Indian Railway Financial Corporation. The Indian Railway Financial Corporation Incorporated the Public Limited in the company in December 1986 with the sole objective of raising the fund for the railway. The market is based on the requirement of the Ministry of Railways to partial financing of the part of the outlay, meeting the development needs of the Indian Railway. The Indian Railway Financial Corporation successfully met the target for year after year and then raised the funds throughout the issuing the taxable tax-free bonds. Therefore, the 10 loans based on the banks, financial institutions, external commercial borrowings, export credentials. Since this inception of the Indian Railway Financial Corporation has consecutively earned profit that has paid 6,980 million, including interim dividends of 650 million for the fiscal year of 2003 to 2004. Dividend of the government paid up to 2,320 million. Or Container Corporation of the Indian Indian Limited. The Container Corporation of India was incorporated in March 1988 under the Companies Act of 1956 for the public service and enterprise with the Ministry of Railways to provide with the multi-module transportation technology with the primary objective of the support of the country's growing international trade as well as the transportation of domestic cargo containers. Adopting this technology in practice, the company commenced the operation in November 1989. The corporation set up with the authorized for the railroads 1,000 million paid up capital companies, the 650 million with the government individual. India has gradually diversified equity holding the company through the three divestments exercised in 1994, 95, 95, 96, 98, 99. Currently, with the government holds 63 equity with the company remaining 37% held with the financial institution individuals. Our Concourse has evolved in strategy, transforming the company with the operation entity with the market division organization to order and ensure the leadership of the multiple module market the four specific areas for the individual strategy or total large logistic solutions, cold chain, coastal shipping, the extension of the interminal, service of neighboring countries. Terminal warehouse of the Concourse has created the network of 51 container terminals across the country, except for the 5 terminals, which are exclusively road-fed inland container depot. The major terminals of the network are linked by rail. Alright, Concourse combustion builded ICDs or inland container depots, dry ports, and hindered with the service of the ports for the purpose of bringing all the port facilities, including custom clearance of the customer, deep doorstep, the terms of the inspection facility, the terms of the warehousing, container the repair, parking, repairing facilities, and even the official complex. Concord has a total of the income of the roads of 18,070 million 2003 and 2004. Net profit of the roads of 23,680 million after taxes. Part 110.5 Konkan Railway Corporation. The Konkan Railway is first railway protection of the country, but they execute with the BOT principle by own trade company formed with the participation for state with the Marisat, with Go, Kanakar, and Karnataka. Ministry of the Railways, 8,000 million, as weighty 27,500 million raised in bonds funding with a total cost of 35,500 million. Construction work beginning with the 1990 with the whole of the 760 kilometers complete with the 1989, dedicated to the nation, 1st of May 1988, and is present with the 13 pairs of the express the train, with the 5 pairs of passenger trains running over the Konkan railway route. They have reduced the distance and travel times from southern India. Some of the technology of the Konkan Railway Corporation Limited are listed in the innovative roll-on, roll-off scheme with the enable these transport to move over the 50,000 trucks in 5 years. The very special safety measure for the Railway Corporation routed instantly with the inclinometer with the sole cutting of the pre-warning of the collapsing of the cutting, coupled the Rakasha DHOG anti-collision device for the warning of the approaching train. Konkan Railways is making extensive use for the development of the IT to the modern working style of making the day-to-day operation more efficiently. The Konkan Railway Corporation gross revenue with the traffic during the 2003-2004, 2,350 million. 110.6 Indian Railway Catering Tourism Corporation. The Indian Railway Catering Tourism Corporation is a new corporation from the Ministry of Railway support. Some of the important projects undertaken by the corporation: the following catering service. The Indian Railway Catering Tourism Corporation has awarded 17 contracts on board catering service in the trains, taking the total number of the trains covered in 71, thus including 5 Rajinam, 2 Shabatis, 17 John Shabatis, 47 Mail Express trains. Internet ticketing system. The facility booking the railway ticket through the internet has been extended to 120 cities across the country. Payment is accepted through credit card, debit cards, direct debit of the account with the customer. Package drinking water project. The first rail newer plant corporation was integrated with the May 2003 secondary of the February 2004. Good quality of the water was supplied with the passenger or other railway users. 110.7 The Railway Tech Corporation of India. The Railway Tech Public Sector for the undertaking the administrative control of the Ministry of the Railways Railtel was incorporated in September 2000 with the authorized capital of the 10,000 million. Main objective of the company is inter ally, including building nationwide telecommunity multiple media network, laying optical fiber optic cables with view of the modernization railway communication system, the safe and efficiency train operation, generating revenue through the commercial use of the system. Alright, 110.8 The Rail Vikas Nigam. Rail Vikas Nigam Limited is a special purpose organization that set up the execute the 2 vital components of the National Rail Vikas Yukon launching the government of the Indian. The main objective of it is to undertake the project of development, financial resources, modernization, mobilization, execution project with the commercial being basis largely non-budgetary fund. The project is expected to remove the capacity of Bolton X of the Golden Quadrilateral Railway line, Delhi, Mahabi, Chennai, and Kolkata, and the diagonals augmented port with the connective of the railway. Vikas Nigam Limited is expected to take up the bankable project where they can attract with marketable funds without government quality. All right, by Pivian Railway Corporation, the joint venture of the Ministry Railway, the Garvinian Pivian Port Limited, with equal equity participation was formed to execute the Suran Nagar Vajal Pivan Port Guards Gauge conversion new line project, the first lane railway infrastructure executed with the private sector participation. Pipeline Railway Corporation Limited has concessionary rights to construct, operate, and maintain project line within 33 years, entitled with the rights of obligation and duties of the Railway Administration, enumerated the Railway Act of 1989. This project line consumed in March 2003 fade operation during the year 2003-2004. The Pavilion Railway Corporation had handled 266 trains, including 112 container trains, and transported 0.4 million tons of cargo. All right, 11010, the Century of the Railway Information System. Century Railway Information System is an autonomous body under the patronage of Ministry of Railways, established with a non-profit making organization trusted with the rail design, development, information about the major computer services of the railway. During the last few years, the Century of the Railway Information System has been substantial progress. The Freight Operation Information System, or FOIS, the passenger reservation system, the national train inquiry system, and microprocess-based self-branding technical ticketing machine, the track management system. Or 11011, the Indian Railway Welfare Organization. Indian Railway Welfare Organization, an autonomous body under the patron of Ministry of Railways, was registered on the 25th of September 1989 until under the Social Registration Act, meeting the specified needs of the housing for serving the retired railways employees. The headquarters of the New Delhi, with the Indian Railway Welfare Organization, has been in construction that have the different city of the their own country, with a self-financing base, with the serving the retired railway employees barely with welfare activity with no profit, non-basis, no loss basis. And in the last few years, the Indian Railway Welfare Organization already acquired less than land in 20th place of the announced group in the housing of the Nadi, Gorajian, Gorakhpur, Kolkata, Cheyenne, Independent, Hyderabad, Chattisgarh, and a few other places that have already completed the housing project for the Niyad, Gurgaon, blah 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 blah, in record time, handled over the flat of their own owners. In summary, the Indian Railways have played an integral role in the social and economic development of the country. The railways have performed the dual role of the functional commercial undertaking that provide the public any utility serve with the key channel of the Indian Railways passenger traffic service segment and maintain the social obligation on low price and service lines, while at the same time the increasing of both capacity and utilization of upper class services through strategy of high growth in traffic, and well as the opportunity with the traffic tariff balancing. Administrative the cost of the railways have been increasingly rapidly within 1.55 million employees. The Indian Railways are the largest employer of the among the public sector undertaking in this country. It is the real reason for the financial problems confronting with the railways is in fact overstaffing. All right, review questions. We're not going to do those. Chapter 2, Railway Track and Gauge. All right, finally, I'll go over the mumbo jumbo of Indian Railways, but I hate to do Indian Railways construction, but it's got a new method of mechanical or telescopic or whatever.